Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Zach's Credit Card Guide. We've got a little bit of a long video this week. We're going to go through a download of some of the latest news. There's been a lot happening in this space, so we're gonna dump it all on you rapid fire here. So go grab some snacks, grab a drink, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about quick is what to do if your flight is canceled. There are a lot of airlines right now that are worried about their income. Revenue is dropping because people are not traveling and people are canceling their flights. So this is one of the biggest industries to get hit right now, and they're scrambling. A lot of these airlines are really trying to skirt the rules and go into some borderline unethical territory, and they're trying to keep your money and give you just a credit or a voucher for a future flight, which might be fine if it's a trip you're going to take anyway. And if that's fine with you, then there's nothing wrong with doing that. In fact, some airlines have even said that they're going to offer more than 100%, like they'll give you 110 or 120% of the value for future use. So if that's something that you want, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Just make sure you read the terms and conditions, and if there is an expiration date, make sure that you can use it, all that other stuff. If you want to do that, fine. But sometimes the circumstances might be that you just need to cancel the trip. Maybe it was a one-off thing, it was tied to a certain date, like maybe some convention, or maybe something that you were going to go to but you can't go to in like December when this might be done. So if it was just a one-time thing and you want to just cancel your flight, a lot of airlines are really making that tough, and I think they've probably told like their frontline people to only give these people vouchers, because a lot of time the person who you first talk to on the phone is just carrying out their orders. You know what I mean? They don't have a lot of discretion. They're not allowed to think for themselves. So a lot of these airlines and the customer service folks are just telling people, I'm going to give you a voucher, and you pull their string, and that's what they keep saying. You do have a right to get a full refund. It's in the Department of Transportation rules. Of course, this is US only. I don't know about you guys like over in Europe and everything. You're going to have to check your rules for where you're at. But at least here in the US, it's the law. You have to get a refund if they cancel your flight. So that's in the DOT rules. It's usually spelled out in the contract when you buy the ticket and everything. So as long as you're firm, if you know what you're talking about and you know what you want, you can get a full refund. And if you still don't get any luck, just do a chargeback on your card, because they have nothing to stand on. Again, that's in the US. Your laws and everything outside the US might be different. And along these same lines, there has been some talk about American Express and Air France teaming up to basically break the law in this case. And speaking of this whole situation outside the US, there was a story recently reported about a man who had a ticket booked on Air France, and he's an American Express cardholder, but he's outside the US. And this kind of happened to him where his ticket was canceled by the airline, and they were refusing to give him a refund even though the flight was canceled. And this is part of EU law that you have to get your money back. He contacted American Express, who refused to do a chargeback. Like, I didn't even think they could do that. The whole point of being able to do a chargeback on your card is to kind of have somebody in your corner if you have a dispute with the merchant. But if the issuing bank on your card is kind of having their back, not yours, that's a problem. So I don't know what's going on with that case. I have a feeling there might be legal action or a lawsuit, because it seems pretty blatantly unethical and illegal. So there are cases of that happening. If you find yourself in this situation, just exhaust all of your options to try to get your money back. Second thing we're going to talk about is what you should do about some of your annual fee cards right now. So I don't know about you, but a lot of the annual fee cards that I have are travel related. That's the whole point of why we do this, right? So like I have the Sapphire Reserve, I just pick up the IHG card, I've got a Marriott business card, so a couple of these annual fee paying cards that I only keep because the benefits outweigh them. You guys all know this stuff, but like the hotel cards almost always make sense because you get a free night every year that is generally worth more than that annual fee. And I know I'm going to travel at some point during the year. I mean, maybe not this year, but we know we're going to travel at some point. We're going to need a hotel. So either I pay $200 for a hotel later, or I pay $125 for an annual fee ahead of time to get that hotel night. Seems like a no-brainer, right? And you might even get a little bit of status with it too. So no-brainer. But now, that whole paradigm, we might have to press pause on our hobby here for a little bit. So what I mean is, maybe those annual fee cards aren't going to make sense this year. I've got a couple of them that are coming up for renewal in the not so distant future, and I don't know if I'm going to keep them. I might downgrade them. And that's what I wanted to remind you guys of. Don't run to cancel your cards necessarily. Maybe you're underemployed right now or out of work temporarily while we're dealing with all of this stuff. And maybe you've got some annual fees coming up. Don't necessarily run to cancel them if you can help it. Look if there's a downgrade path, and what that means is try to see if there's a no annual fee version of that card within that family that you can just downgrade that one to, keep it there for a year, and then when life is back to normal, you can upgrade it back to that other card. Now, you do have to have a card for 12 months from opening before you can do this and move up and down and everything. It's called the Card Act here in the States, and it basically means once you apply for a card, you can't really change it until after you've had it for a year. It's just a funny way of how the law works, but if you've had a card for quite some time, longer than a year, you can upgrade and downgrade at will as long as the bank lets you, and most of the big ones are pretty fine with it. Now again, they know about all this too, and there has been some reports that, for instance, like on the Sapphire Reserve, that Chase is offering a $100 credit kind of as a retention offer and kind of to take some of that bite out of that higher annual fee to some customers. So if you have an annual fee on the Sapphire Reserve coming up and you're looking at that $550 fee, you might be able to get a credit, and if it's not immediately offered to you, just ask about it because it is out there, so maybe they have the discretion to give it to you, and see if that makes it worth it for you. My Sapphire Reserve is going to come due late summer, so I guess we'll just have to see how this whole situation gets cleaned up by then. But what I'm saying, guys, is look to downgrade your cards. If you find yourself in a weird situation where you don't want to pay an annual fee for whatever reason, look if you can downgrade it first and only cancel if you absolutely have to. And the process for downgrading is fairly simple. Like I said, generally you have to look for a card within that same family. So if you have like an Amex Hilton card, say you have the Hilton Aspire, there's a no annual fee Hilton card, you either call up Amex or you send them a message and say, hey guys, I don't want that card anymore. Can you just change it to the other one? Same with Chase, it's pretty easy. So like maybe you have the Sapphire Reserve, just change it to a Freedom or a Freedom Unlimited, no annual fee cards. You keep the card number, everything stays the same. It's just a different card. They wave a magic wand and now it's that card. Same with the Amex Delta cards. A lot of these annual fee cards have a no annual fee downgrade path. So just go on the website, unless you already know what card it is, go on the website, look for the similar card that has no annual fee, and you should be able to change to it with no real drama. And right now, because the banks are skittish along with everybody else, and spending is down as well because everybody's staying at home, so they're worried about revenue too, you might be able to get a pretty good retention offer before you have to downgrade. So to move on from the doom and gloom for a second, there was something interesting I came across in that you can now request an invitation to apply for the Amex Centurion card, the quintessential black card. You can now request an invitation directly from American Express. Now that doesn't mean that you're going to get selected or that they're even gonna care about you, but you can at least kind of get on their radar and say, hey guys, can I have one? And you can see if they're going to send you an invitation or not. So they do have a website. This is probably linked to the rumors that American Express is going to launch some kind of upper tier premium cards that are positioned somewhere between the Platinum and the Centurion card. There's been a couple rumors that they're going to try to put a new product right in between those. So maybe this is tied into that because maybe their reps are getting calls from people like, how do I apply for this card? Like people who might actually qualify for it. So maybe they keep getting calls for it, and this gives them something easy to point to and say, look, if you're interested, fill this out and don't call us, we'll call you. So it's on their website. You put in your first and last name, your card number, and a couple other details, and it goes off into a database and they decide if they're going to call you back. So it is kind of interesting. I don't know if it's tied to the rumored launch of these other cards or not, but it is kind of interesting that if you want to test the system and see what happens, go ahead and put your details in. Again, they're probably not going to care unless you actually do spend a lot on your Amex cards. But if you are interested in seeing if you can get invited to apply for the card, go ahead and fill out your information. Just remember that it does carry a $10,000 initiation fee and a $5,000 annual fee every year after that. Now this card, it's all about the benefits that come with it. The points that it earns is rumored to only be like 1 point per dollar because the kind of people who have this card have the money to just buy what they want. They're not using points to go on trips. They just fly on their own jet, or they buy a business class ticket and just pay cash and they don't care. So you can try to see if you get invited for it, but again, unless that's your lifestyle already, you probably wouldn't want to apply for it even if they let you. Then before we go, guys, we're going to run through some elevated offers that are out there right now. I know not a lot of people plan on traveling anytime in the next few months, but just remember, this too shall pass, and we can still focus on accruing points. A lot of these accounts, your points don't expire, especially if you show some activity. So even if you get a card for a sign-up bonus right now, even if we run it like once every 6 months or something like that and just show some activity, you can save these points for later. Now again, I don't know about you, but like, I'm not spending a lot of money right now, so I'm really not hunting for cards, just because I don't think I can meet a minimum spend. I stay at home all the time right now. But depending on your situation, you might still want to look for a new minimum spend, so we're going to run through a couple elevated offers. So the first one is the City Business American Airlines card. I used to have this one. I got the bonus. I kept it for a year. Didn't make any sense for me in year 2, so I got rid of it. No retention offer, they just let me go. Again, I didn't really use it that much anyway, but I still got the points and I'll use them for a trip someday. But right now, this one is offering 70,000 points for $4,000 in the first 3 months. So that is a little bit of a higher spend to hit, even when life is normal. So just make sure that you can hit that. The historical high is 75,000, so you're not really missing a lot. So if you're hunting for a bonus, this is a good one to go for. It is a business card, so it won't count towards 524. It never showed up on my report, so no worries there. And it does have a $99 annual fee, but that is waived in the first year. If you'd like to learn more about that card, I've got a general, public, normal link down in the description. The second one is the IHG Traveler card from Chase. This is the no annual fee Downgrade Paths sort of card for IHG with Chase. Right now it's offering 75,000 IHG points for only $2,000 in the first 3 months. So that is a little bit of a lower minimum spend to hit, which might be realistic depending on how much you're spending right now. Now this doesn't give you a free night or anything like that. Again, it's no annual fee. So I would only really pick it up if you want those points. It will count towards 524, of course. So just make sure it's worth it for you and that it fits into your strategy. I don't know if I would necessarily apply for it. I just picked up the annual fee IHG, the normal Premier card. I just picked that one up because that one makes sense to hold long term, and that's what I prefer to do. I'd rather open a card and hold it for a while rather than just churn cards. That's not really my style. But for whatever reason, if this fits into your strategy, 75,000 points is really not bad, no annual fee. So as far as that goes, it's a no-brainer to pick up. Just make sure that it does fit into your strategy. So that's all I've got for you this week, guys. I just wanted to run through some of these things kind of rapid fire to catch you guys up on what's going on in the world right now. Of course, a lot of this was tied to you know what. But my question for you guys is, what's going on in your life right now? How has your points and miles hobby changed right now? Like I said, I'm not really spending a lot of money right now, so I'm just not really accruing any points. But what I want to know from you guys is what's going on. Are you accruing lots of miles right now? Are you bonus hunting? Or like me, are you kind of taking it off the front burner, kind of relaxing for a little bit while we all figure out what's going on? What's going on with you guys? Let everybody know down in the comments. If you guys have any other comments or questions, please do leave them down below. I try to get to every single one. I've got some referral links for some popular credit cards down in the description. And if you'd like to get a hold of me to just chat about points and miles, you can get a hold of me through my Facebook page. That link is down there as well. Just drop the page a like, send me a message. We can talk about strategy or really whatever else you want. But I hope you guys are safe and healthy. Make sure to stay inside if you can help it at all, and we'll get through this soon enough. And lastly, please leave the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Pretty easy and free ways to help support the channel. That's all I've got for you this time, guys. See you at the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to drop a comment down below and give the video a thumbs up. Here's some other videos that I think you'll really like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. See you at the next one.